Tell us now a little bit about this region of Maliwi. This is an interesting one, Michael.
Well, remember I was telling you, we spoke about on a previous show that the whole of the Amonist system goes back to the Druids, and that the Druids were settled on the Nile. We know them as the Amonists and as the Shamsu Hor.
Yes.
Well, let's fast forward up to the time of the Atonists now. Did you know that exactly where the great city of Akhenaten was, the city of the Aton, across the river is a city called Malivi.
Yeah.
And we talked on a previous show about the meaning of the word Levi meant the yew tree. Remember that?
Yes.
And we don't want to get into that now, but remember even the fact that the Nile looks like a tree?
Oh, yeah, very much so. Absolutely, yeah.
Right, bringing up the whole symbolism of the tree. Well, Malivi, but sidestepping the Druidic aspect for a moment, did you know that across the river from the city of the sun was the city of the Levites, Malivi?
Right.
They could wave to each other across the river. The women of Malivi, these are what we would now refer to as the Israelite or Levitical women or Jewish women, were servants in the houses of the pharaohs across the river. They were hired as the midwives. They had ceremonial duties. And they also had higher priestly duties as well. They were money changers. They were money lenders. There was a tremendous relationship between the Atonists and the people that were known as the Levites from the city of Malivi. So no rabbi, no Jew can dispute this fact that their religion of Judeo-Christianity and the stories in the Old Testament are linked to Egypt. They were literally side by side, Henrik. It's that obvious. The cities were side by side.
Right. Sheesh.
So there is no doubt about where the monotheistic God came from. There is no doubt about the origins of the Israelites. The only doubts exist in the minds of fake, hypocritical, deceiving, duplicitous historians who always write their books to send you off, running off in some other weird, crazy direction, you see.
Very interesting.
Did you know that the ancient name of the city of Avaris was called Zion?
No idea about that, no.
How about that? And Zion and Avaris. Avaris was the capital of a group of people that we'll deal with later called the Hyksos dynasty.
Right. Yeah, that's a big connection here, of course.
Right, the Hyksos is no different than these Levites.
Right.
But here we go, Zion this, Zion that, Zionist with a Z, Zionist with an S, Order of Zion, Knights Templars of Zion, all the Zionists of today, the naming of Israel. Does anybody ever really want to know where these words actually came from? The city of Avaris, which is where we get the English word avarice from, because the people who lived there were so greedy that they were even called the avarists.
Right.
Okay, let's think of what we're talking about here. But the ancient name of that city was called Sion. How about that?
Really interesting. Wow. So it all goes back again. All goes back to Egypt. That's the root of it all. So many roads seem to lead that way, as it were.
Right. Many roads lead back to there, and specifically to the time of Akhenaten.
Yes. How about let's see if we look at a character like let's say Abraham, for instance, another pharaoh, right?
Absolutely. This guy can be traced back. I mean, we're not totally sure. We can never be 100% sure because look at the records that have been buried and suppressed. And I tell you, we're talking about a scrapbook here. These characters are popping out of a children's scrapbook, for God's sake. It's very difficult to be 100%. People screaming, "Give me facts."
Well, exactly. We're digging back many thousands of years ago into history here, so there always needs to be, and we need to make an open space for new information to come in and new discoveries, of course, which can set all of this on its head. But for now, this is what we have, and this is a very interesting story.
Well, people are screaming, "Give me facts." You give me facts.
Right. Well, I see what you mean.
I'm a signpost presenting revolutionary new information to people, right? All you get is an audience who sit back, go, "Give me more."
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You must have turned over 2 pages at once here. I am not here to entertain you. I am here to say you get up of your ass and follow my theory, or you follow this theory and you go and you check it out for yourself. You don't just sit there passively waiting for me to feed you facts like a baby in a high seat. Give me more, give me more, give me more. We're all in this together. It is as much of a concern to the ordinary layman who finds out about these revolutionary new ideas because they've been sitting in churches for 2,000 years and they've been sitting in schools for hundreds of years and nobody's ever asked for facts then.
Right. Well, exactly.
But as soon as you present the alternative theory, they go, "You're only talking myths."
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I'm talking myths. But now, I suggest a couple of things, or we put these things in front of you, these incredibly new, controversial ideas, and the person must participate. They must get up and they must go and do the research on their own. But you're absolutely right. This Abraham, it can be connected to a pharaoh of an early dynasty, the 12th or the 13th dynasty, known as Amenhotep. Oh my God, his name is Amenhotep.
There we go. Right.
Amenhotep is very closely connected to Abram, or Abraham, you see.
Mm-hmm.
And if people go to that same page on my Irish Origins website, they will see an analysis of the word Isaac.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Which it would take too long to go into now, but the grandson of Abraham, Isaac, as well as Jacob, you see, and don't forget that you have the British flag is known as the Union Jack.
Right, yes.
That is an abbreviation for Jacob.
Jacob, right, yeah.
Right, so again, here's another little clue. What we're talking about is not the union of Jake, or whatever. It's the union of the Israelites, of Jacob. It's a union of the Atnists, because these Levitical houses, both the 10 houses of Israel and the 2 houses of Judah, can, as I said, directly be linked back to the Nile and to these pharaohs. Abraham can be directly linked to the pharaohs. There's suggestive information there. So can Isaac, and so can Jacob.
Fascinating. And the symbol of the lion that we can see right here, and of course the olives. This is something. This is a huge area, of course, that we might touch upon in more detail, and the connection with the symbolism into the modern world, what we can see around us right now. But for now, what is there any thing you would like to mention about this image we see here?
That's another one you're tripping over everywhere you go, isn't it?
Yes, it is, definitely.
Tell me where you can't find it. And
yeah.
most alarmingly, you find it on the most powerful dynasties in the world today. And I don't care if you're talking about oligarchies in America, because that's exactly what you are talking about. All the politicians in America are oligarchs. They're not democrats, or they're not humanists. These are people who are still connected to these dynasties.
Right.
But you find the lion on the royal houses, not just of Britain, but of France, and all of the dynastic concerns, Habsburg, Hanover, Saxe-Coburg-Gotha, all the whole spiel, the House of Hanover, the Venetians. For goodness sake, the lion is the symbol of Venice, Henrik.
Yes.
The lion is the symbol of Rome, Henrik.
Yeah.
Where the Pope is sitting right on top of his head. Where does this symbol come from? It's been used in Judaism. Do you know that the original Lion of Judea, the original king of the Jews, was Akhenaten?
Really?
Absolutely.
Absolutely fascinating. And Michael,
you see that reef?
Yeah, definitely.
That olive reef
on the sides, yes.
And you see the little grid pattern behind there?
Yeah.
Compare that. People need to go to Wikipedia or Google, type in UN flag.
Oh yeah.
And then come back to our show and check this image that you've been showing here on your screen.
There you go. Yeah.
And check the symbol for the United Nations flag against that image. And you don't need Michael Tsarion to connect any more dots for you.
Let's see if we have time to return to that a little bit later, because again, this kind of leads up to where we are in the modern world. But let's briefly, before we move on and talk about the next thing that has to do with the solar cults here, let's just briefly talk a little bit about Melchizedek. And possibly tie this in with the son of Zadok. Lead us into this topic here, Michael.
Well, do you remember that the Dead Sea Scrolls were discovered in 1948?
Yes, yeah.
And do you remember the little slightly important detail that it took the Vatican 40 years to release the books?
Right, there you go, yes.
Yeah, but leaving that aside, because, let's not even get into that. But the very fact is that the many people, you start hearing terms like the Essenes, Well, the thing is that the Essenes are more correctly called Zadokites.
Right.
All right? Yeah, this is a little tangent to Christianity here. And of course we know they were quote-unquote suppressed, and that story is also told in the Irish Origins book. We don't have time to get into why Orthodox Christianity would have wanted to suppress Essenes and all of that. That's a fascinating story, but maybe we can do another show on it. But the Zadokites, in their own words, this is what was in the Dead Sea Scrolls, and this is one of the reasons why the books were suppressed, is because they say they worshipped a pre-Mosaic character called Melchizedek.
Yeah, okay.
And at the Queen's coronation, the hymn to Zadok was sung.
Ah, really?
They're basically putting the crown on our head.
And they're playing this song?
To Zadok.
Huh.